Hey folks, so this video is going to show you how to create a sort of Christmas or holiday ornament, something you might hang on a Christmas tree or any other holiday tree you have using Onshape. What I really want to show is how to use the Revolve tool. And much like the picture shows here, there with a dotted line and like a donut shape around it, what we're going to do is create a single slice, like one of the little circles that's like a slice of a donut. And we're going to make a vertical line to spin that slice around, and it's going to make an object. So this would be similar to how you'd make a ball if you have a ball in your toy, or how you'd make maybe a spinning top or something like that that had a circular shape to it that is symmetrical around a central axis. So please just watch this video. Don't try to follow along. Just follow along with your eyes. Don't actually try to do stuff in Onshape. Just watch the video first. I'll try to keep it quick, and then you can try it yourself, okay? And then you can reference the video as much as you need. So to create one of these revolutions, we first need a sketch. Everything in Onshape starts with a sketch. So I'm going to click the sketch button. I'm going to pick the front plane just like we did in that intro to Onshape tutorial. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a vertical line, if I don't mess up my views. So I pick the line tool. I'm going to start it on the origin, one click, come straight up, a second click. All right, now I'm also going to add some other parts to this. I'm going to come over and I'm going to come down. So this is forming that little like nub at the top of this. Then of course we need our spherical shape to come out here, but let's just hold off on that for a second, because I am going to finish up the dimensioning this first. So let's hit escape. We'll cancel us out of the line tool. Let's add some dimensions to this. So I'm going to make this, let's see, about 4 inches tall seems about right. So we'll make that about 4 inches tall. The nub here for the top part, it seems like probably a good distance for that. So this is half of the diameter of a circular nub. Just trust me on these numbers here for a second, folks. So I'm going to put a 1/2 inch because I want it to be, actually I'm going to do 0.25 inches, 0.25. I double clicked to edit that. And then I'm going to make the nub about, let's see, 0.25 inches tall, 1/4 inch. Yeah, that seems about right. That might be too short of a nub, but we can always come back and change it later. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to use the spline tool. So this is not going to be a perfect circle. This is going to be kind of artistic. You can do what you want here. But I'm going to pick the spline tool, which is like a line, but it has these other dots on it that allow you to make it curvy, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So to use the spline tool, I click on a starting point, just like with the line. And at first it looks like a line. But the next point you click is going to be a second point, and you'll see all the other points will sort of curve around that. And you can actually put as many of these points as you want. If you get this far and you're like, oh no, I messed up, okay? If you just hit escape on your keyboard and then hit undo, it's gonna make that line go away and you can restart it again. So pick the spline tool again. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. This first time I'm gonna make 2 little points. When you're done and you're ready to stop using the spline tool, you can just double click the last point. So that was a quick double click. And then you will have this shape. We're not going to dimension this part of it. We're just going to kind of eyeball it, because otherwise it gets weird when you try to dimension a spline. So now finally we're going to turn this into a 3D shape. Okay, so I'm going to pick the revolve option here, and it asks for 2 things: a face and an axis of revolution, or revolve axis. The face or sketch region I just made, it's right here. I'm going to hover till it turns orange, click, and that is going to create, that's going to be the starting point. And then it says, hey, pick an axis to revolve around. So I'm going to pick this. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I didn't click in the box. Click in the box. I'm going to click there, and it's going to revolve around that axis. And now we have this shape that we are, looks pretty much like a Christmas ornament. Now, if you want to go back and you want to edit part of this, you can double click on your sketch and you can change the shape of that spline. You can remove it, put something totally different in there. Let's make it super crazy for a second. Click the check mark. It's going to update that. Pretty kooky Christmas ornament, but maybe it's what you want. Okay, so you can go back and edit that sketch as much as you want by double clicking on that, doing that. And this is how you can create a sort of Christmas ornament. So at this point, you can go give it a shot. You can pause the video. What I'm going to show for a second here is how to actually add a hole to this part up here if you want. So this part of the video from here on out is optional, okay? Otherwise, you should go give this a shot. So the optional part here to add a little hole if you wanted to put a string through this would be to create another sketch. We're actually going to do an extrude remove. Okay, so I'm going to pick a sketch plane. We're going to pick that front face, which is hidden inside my blobby ornament here. And I'm going to click to align to my front view there by clicking on the cube. And I'm just going to draw a regular old circle. And I'm going to kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to position it up here. And eyeballing isn't always the best idea, but sometimes you got to do it. Okay, I can set the size of this with the dimension tool. Let's make this 0.125, so it's 1/8 of an inch in diameter. Whoops, and it may move on you, but you can do something like this to set the distance, let's say from the top to that object. And let's make that pretty small. Let's make that like 0.2. Oop, it's too far. Double click this. Let's try like 0.15. That looks pretty good. And you can just kind of tweak your dimensions till they look right. Click the check mark. And the last step here is we have to cut that out. So we're going to actually use extrude, and we can, in addition to adding material like we've already learned how to do, we can remove material here. And so I'm going to click remove, and I'm going to pick sketch 2 from the left over here because it's hard to click when it's inside. And I'm going to change the blind option, which is how far the extrusion is going. And I'm going to click symmetric instead and just make sure that's going outside of the circle. And what this is doing is it's cutting out the shape of the circle in both directions. And I'm going to click the check mark there. And now I have a nice little hole for my blobby Christmas ornament that maybe we're going to hang on the tree, but it's a little large to hang on a tree. So hopefully this video kind of helped show some extra things, especially this extra part here at the end. And you can come back to this video and reference it as much as you need. So I will stop talking and let y'all get to work.